Welcome to the Joy Inspired podcast. I'm Nikki Cruise, and I'm thrilled to explore with you what it means to walk in a faith-infused business. This is your space to find powerful tools and insights, to build with resilience, and to create impact through your unique purpose, discovering a joy that only God can provide. Together, let's embrace a business journey anchored in faith and empowered by joy. Let's jump in. Well, hi there, amazing kingdom entrepreneurs. It's Nikki Cruise here, your favorite joy junkie. And as I say, if I'm not your favorite joy junkie, I want to know who is, because I want to meet them. And, you know, we get here to inspire and encourage one another. That's what this is all about, finding joy in the journey. And today I am super excited because I have an amazing woman here who has inspired me so much. Our guest is the amazing Tiffanie Kellog, also known as Speaker in Socks, and the lady who is the queen of time. And in this space where we get so lost and often lose our joy when we lose our time, Tiffanie is going to bring us some amazing sights. And you know what? She is also a 4 times published author, the referral queen, creator of Tiffanies. You know, those aha epiphanies that shift your thinking in an instant. I don't know where she gets them, but I have been blown away by them. And I'm super excited to share her with all of you. She's got this beautiful way of blending strategy, systems, and community that helps business owners reclaim time, make more money, and, in her words, have more fun. You all know that's my jam too. She's the creator of More Abundant Entrepreneurs Community. She's the founder of Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. No, that doesn't mean they've got rid of the kids. It means they're child free by choice. And she helps entrepreneurs generate more referrals, simplify those systems, and reclaim hours of time. And boy, she's helped me do that. So today we're going to be talking about her book, The Entrepreneur's Guide to More Time. So take a deep breath. I'll talk less, and let's hear more from her. Tiffanie, welcome to the Joy Inspired podcast.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I am so happy to be here with your kingdom entrepreneurs.
Tiffanie, take us back. You started your entrepreneurial journey in 2003, I believe. 20 plus years of building, pivoting, trusting that you were on the right path. Walk us through young Tiffanie stepping into entrepreneurship and how your self-belief has kept you on the path ever since.
Yeah, it's interesting. I, like so many people out there, found myself, in entrepreneurship versus that's the plan. And I actually went to school. I wanted to do genetic research, like that would be fun. And then I figured out what all was involved. I'm like, nah, business major, here I go. Got out of school, got that first real job, loving it. But then many people have experienced this. The board of directors got together, did some restructuring, and what was no longer part of the organization was me. And I was very nicely offered a severance package or demotion, my pick. The other thing that happened that March of 2003 that really impacted me being here today is that the job that I had, at the same time that I was losing my job, my mom, who had been battling breast cancer for the previous 17 months, was given a terminal diagnosis and maybe a couple of weeks left to live. And it was perfect timing because I took the severance package and I got to spend every single day with her. Like, I'd get up in the morning and do what I needed to do around my spot, and then I'd head over to her house and I'd spend the whole day there. And it gave me the opportunity to be with her each and every day. And some days it was just crawling into bed with her while we were watching judge shows. Sometimes she'd feel good enough to come sit at the table. We'd do crossword puzzles over a meal. But I got to spend each and every day with her. And we had a huge bash for her 47th birthday, had all of her friends and family there. And she, hung out. The next morning we got up, we had breakfast, and then she went to take a nap and she never woke up. And
Oh.
it was precious because we got to have months with her instead of a couple of weeks. So I'm like, you know what? I like that flexibility and freedom. And there was a friend of the family, Jackie, and she would come over at like 10 on a Monday or 3 on a Thursday, where everybody else was coming over in nights and the weekends because they had a job. But she owned her own business. And at 20, let's see, 2003. At 24, I decided, yes, that sounded amazing. I've got the college degree, I've been laid off. Like, let's start my own business. So I was like, I'm going to start a promotional products company, picked up from North Carolina, moved to Florida, and started a business. And what I found was just because you have a business doesn't mean you have any business.
And it doesn't mean that all the things that you dreamt, you know, we jump in as entrepreneurs and we think, oh, I'm going to have the money, I'm going to have the freedom. It's all going to be there after a week. And suddenly we go, oh, you know what? I actually have to work at this. I have to actually do some things. And yeah, and you bring so many of those strategies forward for people. And we don't think that we think like that. But you know what? When we question it, we actually do. And that's what's causing the frustration. But when did you realize that stepping into this was actually a calling? This was going to be your full time thing.
Yeah. So I was doing the thing with the promotional products business and cold calling for 2 years. And I'm good at it, but I don't like doing it. But I got a phone call out of the phone book, somebody inviting me to my very first networking event. And it was like the clouds had parted, the sun was shining, like, there's a room full of people here to pass me referrals. And I quickly fell in love with it. So much so that when the organization was like, hey, would you like to, be leadership? Would you like to train? Would you like to do this? Me being scared of public speaking is like, what better way to get over my fear of public speaking than to say yes to being in front of the room as much as possible as a 25-year-old girl that knows absolutely nothing. And I was still getting carded, like computer air, like you can clean your computer and the dust off of it. So we had to
Yeah.
use that for our sewing machines and our promotional products business. I was still getting carded for computer error. So we're not even talking like illegal substances, but they wouldn't sell me computer error as how young I looked. And what I found was I loved the promotional products, but I loved working with entrepreneurs to help them get referrals and do the networking, all the things I had to learn to be more efficient in doing it. And it was 2008. My husband and I were sitting down having a conversation. I was splitting my life about half between the promotional products business, half speaking to promote the promotional products business, but speaking nonetheless. And he's like, which do you like more? And I said, I like the speaking. I like helping entrepreneurs. And so he said, okay, I'll take over the promotional products business. And 2008 is when I said, okay, I'm full time speaking with entrepreneurs to help them grow their business. And so, it was kind of not a direct path, very much so similar to the other organization that I'm creating, Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. Sometimes, God puts things in front of us to kind of work to and work through, and we don't always know where we're headed, and that's okay.
And it does. It takes trusting the journey. It takes stepping out there, even when you're not sure what it's going to look like at the end. But you do have some idea. You don't just go out there blindly and throw it all in the air, but trusting the process. And I know so many of us don't like that concept, but yeah. So tell us about this amazing, beautiful community you've built, helping entrepreneurs make money, save time, and have more fun. And it's even there on your wall. What is the mission behind the More Abundant Entrepreneurs?
So, in my 20 plus years of hanging out with a lot of networking organizations, they are so amazing and so powerful. And when people say, what are the best networking organizations? That's like saying, what would you like to drink? Everybody has a preferred flavor. I don't do coffee at all, but give me a nice cup of tea and I'm very happy. And it's not that coffee's bad. I mean, I think coffee's bad, but I get that it's just not my flavor. And so when it comes to networking, we encourage people to be a part of three communities, but you pick what flavor that you want. But in all of these networking organizations that I was seeing, they're really great at like the referrals and the industry information and things of that nature. Though, where's the support for the business owners? Because what I see so frequently is most business owners have like I'm no occasionally they're lucky and surrounded by other business owners, but usually the entrepreneurs, the business owners are like the ones that are abnormal. They're married to a spouse that works 9 to 5 or a salaried position or hourly. And so it's already this kind of difference of how we think. And now as entrepreneurs, we have a hard time turning it off the way that, and I say 9 to 5, not in a bad way, it's just a different mindset. You go in at 9, you leave at 5, you're done. Entrepreneurs, we're always thinking about it. And so I wanted to create a community, a space where we can come together and talk about the issues that are coming up, whether it's as a business owner, taxes, CRMs, things of that nature, or how can we get referrals, or how do we have time, or how can we create support for one another's. I had one of the more abundant entrepreneur community members call me right before this started, like, "Hey, I you introduced me to that person the other day. Can I get their number because I need them?" And so we're creating this intimate community of business owners that want to build, that want to grow, that want to scale, and want to be in a room of like minded, positive people. Like, if you're negative, if you want to complain, I am not the person for you at all. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll back you up on that. And this is a community that I am part of. And one of the beautiful things about it is there are other communities, but you usually find everybody comes from the same space.
Mm,
Everybody is a life coach or everybody is doing the same thing. This community is a total cross section. We've got electricians, we've got legal people, we've got writers, we've got me, we've got you name it in there. And the wisdom you get from delving into things together is huge. So I will say this is an abundant community creating more abundant entrepreneurs. And it's I think you've created a beautiful space here. And I'm sure that's not what you expected to create when you started.
Oh, I
But
I never anticipated I was going to have a group or a community. Like, that was not on my radar at all whatsoever.
yeah.
Where we are.
And you saw the gap
Mm.
and you knew that you were uniquely qualified to lead in that gap. And I just love the way you run it because you honor so strongly your belief, time, money, and fun. And we see it in the way you structure things. I see it in the way you present everything. So, in a world where entrepreneurs are just being pulled and pushed, and how do you help people carve out space for rest, soul alignment, and freedom? Because that's what time gives.
Yeah. I think that the beginning of this conversation is what most people don't anticipate. Because I think the first thing that we have to ideally come up with is what are our most important things for us? What are our priorities? And I'm old fashioned, pen and paper, love them. And writing out the priorities, because I was coaching with a client recently and she's telling me this and this and this and that and that and that. I'm like, okay, I'm like, what's your priorities number one? And spouse was number one. And I'm like, in all of this, we haven't talked about the spouse yet. If that's our priority, then we have to realize that. And so I think what happens, especially for entrepreneurs, because we've got that pressure on our shoulders, we're carrying the weight and the burden, especially for supporting the entire family, the entire household. Or even if it's just us, we're still the one that's carrying that. And so we get so focused on the business that it becomes number one. And things that were important to us, whether it's our relationship with our family, our kids, our parents, our relationship with God, our relationship with our church, whatever it may be, it can slide down. And so I think the first thing that we have to do is alignment of priority. And I'm not saying that it's not like if, God is your number one priority, then, okay, now you need to go do a mission trip and spend the next 2 years just doing that. That is not what I'm saying. Though the my cousins did Madagascar for several years, and the just the stories that they have are amazing. But that's not what I'm saying, because if you've got the business you need to do, and how do I carve out a little bit of time? And so when we start with what are the priorities that we have, how do we get those on the schedule as the non-negotiables? Like I know growing up, we always went to church Sunday morning. Well, and Wednesday night too. But we always did it. It was never something that got in the way. Just like we always managed to go to school. Because, well, I mean, I get there's vacations and sick, but for the most part, these are our steady things in our lives. And so, as entrepreneurs, we have a tendency to let everything else go. And we have to start by saying what matters most to us.
Yeah. We have to continue to step into the alignment because this is where burnout happens.
Mm.
This is where you lose your passion. When you don't align your faith, passion, and purpose, you lose the joy because you start leaving God out of the picture because you're going after it so hard. You're fulfilling your purpose by doing all the things and leaving the reason for the purpose out of it. So that's absolutely beautiful. And getting back into that alignment with what is truly important in your life. And your calendar should reflect that.
100%. Yeah, like to me, the calendar, the first things that go in are what are the things that matter the most. So my calendar has reoccurring appointments. My morning routine runs till 9. Some days I like to run till 10. In an ideal world, it's going to be 10. But like that way, I don't have early appointments. However, if somebody invites me to something earlier, I can evaluate, am I willing to move that boundary? I go live every Friday for our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free at 11:11 every Friday Eastern Time. And occasionally I'm in the air or I'm speaking, so I pre-record it. So there is flexibility and freedom when it comes to your schedule. But if you say, okay, I want to be a part of this Bible group, I want to be a part of this volunteer community, I want to, make sure I'm at this service every week, putting those in first and then filling up around it, not finding time for God, finding time for your family, finding time for yourself after, because there's never enough
Yeah.
time.
Your priorities can't be an afterthought. And I can imagine that those of you, like I did a while back, are sitting there going, has this woman forgot what it's like to be an entrepreneur? Has she been in the space for so long? What about all the DMs and all the this and all the that? Well, let me tell you, she has a new book full of key things that help you manage all of that. Tiffanie, your book, The Entrepreneur's Guide to More Free Time. Oh, by the way, I love the title.
Thank
What
you.
inspired you to write it? And how does it serve us entrepreneurs who are craving that time freedom and deeper worship?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I was doing things in my own life once I became an entrepreneur because I got into the habit of 7 days a week, sun up to way past sundown, working all the time and burnout and all of that. And I had to begin to like create the life that I wanted. And it was back in 2017 that somebody was like, Tiffanie, you are always throwing out at us these random time tips. Why don't you just give them all to us together? Because I was already facilitating a program on referrals. They're like, where's our time program? And I'm like, I don't think anybody wants it. They're like, yes, they do. I'm like, fine, here's what I'll do. I like made a checkout, like, here's the price. It's a 13-week program because 13 is my lucky number. It's a 13-week program. Here's the price. If I have 10 people signed up by the weekend, then I'll do it. When I got back from my walk, now it was like a 4 mile walk, but it was still just a walk. When I got back from my walk, we had 9 signups, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this program. And this is the first time. It's interesting. I've written 4 books, and the journey of writing the 4 books is different for each of them, very, distinct. So it's been interesting because I've been training this material as a program, a 13-week program for the past 8 years. So when I sat down to write this one, it's like, okay, I've got to get everything that's in my brain about time into this one book. And I will share with you, Nikki, I thought this book was going to be about the length of my first 3 books, which are all 100, 150 pages. This one is longer than all 3 combined. It is over 300 pages, which I know sounds massive, but it's easy to read, so I've been told. And so everything that I could think about to deal with the time in our lives is in the book.
And the tips are amazing. And folks, if you're thinking, I don't have time to read a 300-page book, this is amazing, because one of the things that Tiffanie encourages in her book is don't sit down and try and read it from beginning to end. Because if you don't have time, you don't have time. But pick what's relevant to you and start there. And this is how wise this woman is, folks. She's got this wisdom. She knows that that's what you're going to say. And once you get into it, you won't want to put it down. And the tips are so simple. They're things it's like, oh, well, why didn't I think of that? Or, okay, I'll do that next week. And when you do it, you realize the impact of it. So, folks, we are going to be dropping a link in the show notes where you can go to Amazon and you can get that book. And it comes with a high recommendation from me. I do have it. I haven't read the whole thing, but I am working through the sections, and I have gained a lot of my time back for it. You guys might have noticed I've been a lot calmer lately. So I
So
am not
can we dive into
frantic.
that a little bit? Because you and I have not been working
Absolutely.
together that long.
Absolutely. Let's go.
So tell me, we haven't been working together that long. You're pretty brand new to the community. So I'd love to
Yeah.
hear how you're calm already. What do you attribute that to? Let's share some of my nuggets of wisdom that have worked for you, if that's okay.
As simple as turning your notifications off on your phone. I no longer, and I'm sorry if you're one of my close friends who's been messaging me and I no longer respond to you straight away, it's Tiffany's fault. But it means when you do get my attention, you actually get quality time from me. Instead of getting a quick, oh, I'm squeezing you in between something else, you get quality time from me at the appropriate time. And it has helped me focus very powerfully on what I am doing, both on you when I speak to you, but on whatever else I was busy with. That's been the one thing.
Nice.
Organizing my calendar into different time slots has been another. Prioritizing onto the calendar. And because of those things, I'm not, I mean, somebody said to me the other day, your calendar looks like Tetris. And I said, I know, I keep going, where do I fit it in? Where do I fit it in? You know, that's starting to resolve. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen overnight, folks. Changing the way you think about things doesn't happen overnight. Just the same as having a kingdom mindset, choosing joy in the challenges doesn't happen overnight. But how are you going to reclaim your joy?
Yeah.
You do it with these little tips. And it really is powerful when you apply what applies to you. Not what applies to everybody else, what applies to you. And
Yeah.
that's what Tiffanie teaches, coaches, brings forward even in her book. She's got it there in black and white. And guess what? It works. So I encourage you to go look at this. I recommend this book. I recommend the philosophy that the 24 hours in the day are enough for you to achieve what God has called you to achieve joyfully, without burning out, without struggling and getting mad at your family or ignoring your family.
Yeah.
Having the joy in the journey is what it's all about. So, you know, that's been my takeaway, Tiffanie, and I thank you and commend you for that. And that was, I kind of joined your community before the book, but the book was my confirmation that I knew I was in the right place.
Love
And
it.
you don't stand up there and say, I am all of this and I do it on my own. You believe in community
Yes.
and building community. And I want to know what one comment you have got to the entrepreneurs about community.
It's interesting that Americans have very much gone into this isolated, like, let's everybody live in their own house, in their own space. And we're drifting apart. And I feel like as humans, as beings, we want that community. And especially with what COVID happened and so many people living in their own houses. A friend of mine, Dr. Ivan Meisner, likes to talk about cave dwellers. You know, you get in your cave that drives to your office, it's a cave, to drive back to your home that's a cave, and we don't have that connection. And if we think about joy, it's typically not when we're by ourselves. Not that we can't be joyful when we're by ourselves, but when we're around people, we can spread that joy and their joy can spread to us. And what I'm very big on is being a part of communities that are where I want to be. And so, I think about not necessarily where am I now, it's where do I want to be? Who are the people that can bring me up? And so, if I'm looking for a better understanding of the Bible, perhaps it's let me go find a Bible study. And y'all, if you're not having time for, I want to read more or I want to pray more, and this could be meditate more, whatever it may be that you want to do, start small. When I first started with my meditation practice, it was 3 minutes a day. And there are some days that it's still only 3 minutes a day. However, as you start small, maybe the goal is I just want to read a couple verses a day. And then you expand it out. And so what you'll find is if you start, I had a health coach that was like, start with 30 seconds and then move to 35 seconds and then move to 40 seconds over time as you're comfortable. And so if you're like, Tiffanie, my calendar is so packed, begin putting little things in. And if you have community with you, I love being in community when I'm looking to improve myself, when I'm looking to develop skills, when I'm looking for encouragement. Because even as a hardcore introvert, y'all, the community can help you recharge and you don't have to be it alone. And I know sometimes it's like, well, I'm not alone. I've got my family or I've got God or I've got whatever it may be. And like, let's have more. There's no scarcity in this universe. God has everything out there that we need and plenty more. We just have to be ready to take it. And so being in that community gives us the opportunity to make it so.
I love that. And folks, I'm big on community. God created us to live in community and to equip one another with our skills. When you aren't in community, you aren't growing your skills by sharing them with others, and you aren't receiving from other people. So you're actually kind of costing the community on two sides. Tiffanie, this is absolutely amazing. Huge joy, but I have two rapid fire questions.
Oh,
Favorite
and before
book?
you do that, I do have a little gift for those that want to check it out. Because I do encourage you to buy the book, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe you need a little teaser of Tiffanie. So we do have 4.5 easy ways to have more free time. The one that Nikki mentioned of turning your notifications off is in there. But I'm happy to share that with everybody, and we can put the link in the show notes so they can check that out if they need a little bit more Tiffanie before committing to the book.
Oh, that's amazing, Tiffanie. Thank you. And yeah, we will definitely put that. Very generous of you. But tell us, what is
Okay.
your favorite book?
I need you to expand on what you mean by favorite book. Like the book that's making the most impact on me this year, the book that I go back and read over and over again.
All
Like,
righty.
oh
What would you recommend for the everyday entrepreneur? I know you're a big reader, so.
gosh. Yeah, and like I've had multiple books this year, and yesterday I was sharing like my top 5 books. But I will tell you the book that has made me the happiest, the quickest, the easiest is Let Them by Mel Robbins, because it has 100% shifted how I view other people, my relationship with other people. It's funny, one of the gals in the books club was like, I need to fix my husband. I'm like, no, you don't. There's nothing, there is no fixing like that. The book is like, you don't need to fix. People are who they are. So it's very much let me love people exactly as they show up and how they're made. And then I can
I
decide if
love
I
that.
want to live in their world or not. And so it's been, and it's only been a few months since I've read it, but I am so much happier and accepting of people because of it in ways that I didn't even realize. And sometimes it's like, oh, wow, that was kind of unchristian of me, but it wasn't even that. It was in that mindset. It's just, so that's
I
at least my
love
book
that.
of the year so far.
I love that. And Tiffany is a big reader. So
Yeah, I'm reading like 6 books right now. So, and that's right now I'm reading 6 books. That's not this year I'm reading 6 books. I'm currently reading 6 books right now. I just started on female brain. I'm only one chapter in. Brilliant. You know how they always talk about, I don't know if this is taboo, like men think about sex all the time. They actually have 2.5 times more brain that's focused on sex than women do. I'm like,
yeah.
well, that makes total sense. If God made it that way, there must be a reason why guys want it more than girls. But it's like, reading interesting things like that.
There is there is so much to that. And the, folks, it's where your curiosity is. And of course, she has time to read it because she knows how to make time. So, Tiffany, folks want to connect with you. And trust me, folks, you do. Or you want to check out her links in the show notes, that's one thing. You'll find her more abundant entrepreneurs community, her social platforms, and of course, I'll drop a link to her brand new book and her generous gift. Go grab it and give yourself the gift of more space, more peace, and of course, with the time, and that will bring you more joy. And that's what we're all about. But
Love it.
friends, remember, if today's episode spoke to you and encouraged you or gave you that little holy nudge, won't you do me a favor? Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody else who could benefit from this knowledge. Somebody else who needs it, because that's what community is all about. And just a little reminder, as I say, a huge thanks to Tiffany. You can see the joy that exudes from her. She is amazing. She's always on the ball and a lot of fun to be around, but she's really filled with joy. So remember, you get to choose joy regardless of your circumstances. Don't be grumbling that you don't have enough time until you've made it. Choose to respond to your challenges positively, because your circumstances don't define you. Your reaction to them do. So, here's a powerful, joy-filled farewell from me and a wonderful thank you to Tiffany. I'll see you all next week at the Joy Inspired podcast. Stay joyful, stay faithful, and stay in your purpose. Blessings all. Tiffany, thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the Joy Inspired podcast at www.joyinspiredpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming and you don't want to miss it. So make sure to hit that subscribe. I am so grateful for all the reviews and comments, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.